choose life. Choose Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and hope that someone, somewhere cares.
Missed you, mate.
I missed you too, Spud.
It's 20 years later, and it's Trainspotting, and it's these guys who we really know. You know, they're like our friends, these people. So to read John's script was an extraordinary. You had to sit down and make sure the kids weren't around.
They have their own quality filters, these actors. They wouldn't want to come back if it wasn't really good. And also, if there wasn't enough for them to do individually, they didn't want to turn up and be a spare part for the other three or the other two or whatever. So it had to pass those standards as well. And I'm really glad it did, because I knew it would, because when I read it, I thought, that's it. We should make a film about that right now.
Hello, Mark. So what you been up to for 20 years?
When did you become aware of the impact it had on the audience, the first film?
I mean, the night of the very first premiere, you just knew this is something different. This is something special.
I think already, you know, the expectation and the hunger for it from people who loved the novel was already there, and so we knew that, we could feel it. It was part of British culture at the time.
It was a cultural phenomenon that people identified with very personally and honestly, and so we had a feeling of great responsibility, I think. Definitely. Not to shortchange people.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Hello, Franco.
Simon, I'm home.
Have you thought back on your characters and how they were doing through the years?
I've thought about it for 20 years. Genuinely. It's never really been that far away from your mind, you know. I mean, it was a kind of simple answer for me. He was obviously going to be in the nick, but where his mind would be. So I've been thinking about it kind of on and off for quite a long time.
I was very fond of the original movie, so, you know, I look back to that and, oh, look what I did. We.
Yeah. How was the feeling of nostalgia? Did it get too much at times?
Yes, it's very powerful and very destructive sometimes as well, especially for film, which is very much about forward momentum, really. And so you have to keep control of it.
I don't think you can make a film like this without it being slightly nostalgic. I think that's kind of inherent within it. And I think the film kind of addresses that if it is going too far that way, it pulls it back, I think, from that without it being too kind of sickly or too sweet.
It was a wonderful editing process, deciding how much of the past to allow back in, literally to allow back in. You want it because you want to see side by side the faces, really, because it's a very powerful testimony.
I think the film, for a lot of people, is like a time machine, this new film.
Yeah.
Every day there was a little 20 years later moment where you felt 20 years older than you had when we did this before. And sometimes it was we had some young guys who played us in some of the flashback moments, and they were literally wearing our original costumes. Our costumes had been in storage for 20 years, and whenever you saw those guys, whether it be out the corner of your eye or when you got back to the trailers and they were sitting around, it was quite weird, it was quite odd, because they are guys who are the age that we were when we made Trainspotting, and here we are, kind of 20 years older.